So I think it started about a year ago. I was working with Samsung on some projects, and I said I'd like to do a short using a new camera that they had. And so I reached out to my friend Steven, who had optioned a story called Yvonne about a woman who moves into her refrigerator. And so he had written a script, and he said, yeah, we could go ahead and make this. I pitched it to Samsung, and they said, here's the green light, go make your movie. In fact, I was just going to say, they said it's a story about a woman who moves into a refrigerator. Let's make it a Samsung refrigerator. Okay, cool.
Yeah, just go make that. We don't hear that very often. So having that freedom, what did that do for you mentally to think, I can just make this? As a creator, did that lead you in ways that maybe you wouldn't have gone on before? Tell us a little bit about that creative journey.
I think the freedom is amazing because you're right. So many times there are people looking over your shoulder and telling you and giving you input. And to have full creative control and ownership of this was remarkable. It also means that if it had failed, it would be completely on my shoulders. And that's only fair. So it was really freeing to be able to just sort of go and make my movie and work with the people I wanted to work with and have total megalomania. Yeah, I was a terror on set.
Oh, I can. You seem like that type, totally. So, how did you come to cast? Because this lead is, fairly integral to the film. How did you come to cast her, and what led you? Like, what did she have that really made you feel connected to her, and that she'd be able to tell this story?
Well, so Marissa Winokur has been, she's got a Tony for Hairspray on Broadway, so she's no slouch.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to know her. She's become a friend over the past couple of years. And so when I read this story, I just thought of her immediately. She is a mother. She knows what it's like to be underappreciated. And I shared the story with her, and it resonated. And so we said, let's team up and make this happen. There was no doubt in my mind that she was the right person for it.
Awesome. Now, you said that your friend was a writer. Tell us a little bit about, you mentioned just something earlier about he's come to have a little bit of success with his writing. So tell us about that.
Yeah, he actually, after this happened, worked with my partner's cousin who edited his novel called Lily and the Octopus, and he was going to self-distribute it. And he ended up sharing it with her. She edited it, and she shared it with people she knew at Simon & Schuster, and he sold it to them for a hefty sum, and it's coming out next year.
It's so exciting to see your friends be successful. Isn't it great? So you have another project that you just wrapped on, correct? Can you just give us a little sneak peek about what that's about?
Sure. It's called The Curator, and it's actually on YouTube right now. And it's a short documentary about Clyde Deppner, who was a former high school teacher of mine.
Okay.
He's also the only official curator in Major League Baseball. He collects and curates for the Minnesota Twins. So I got to come back this summer, again, working with Samsung, and do a short documentary that's not just about baseball. One of the great things that I've heard recently from people who have seen it is, I don't like baseball. I don't care about baseball. I love this movie because it's a story about passion. And so it's 11 minutes. It's a short documentary up on YouTube right now, made here in Minnesota.
What's it called?
The Curator. Yeah. And I'm hoping that it's, that I get to do something else here very soon.
I hope you get to do something else here very soon, too. You seem to have an ability to connect to really curious stories. And the world is filled with a lot of banal stories, so it's wonderful to connect with other creators who were like, no, I'm going to tell a story that hasn't been told before. And finding a spark, finding this teacher. So did you know he was a curator when he was your teacher?
Yeah, he would bring in artifacts. He was an American history teacher, so he would bring in artifacts every Tuesday and teach us about specific moments and people in history. And he's just been a friend for 20 years, so it made sense. Let's tell his story.
That's really, really cool. So what's your next project that you're working on?
I'm developing a number of things. I just did a pilot for a web series that has a bit of a Star Wars theme to it, so that's happening. And I'm working on some other things with some corporate partners that could be very exciting and groundbreaking in the way that we tell some stories. There's some stuff happening in technology that will sort of change the way we see things, and I feel very excited to be in on the ground floor of that. So
you had me at Star Wars. So, well, thank you so much for making these interesting and wonderful stories and sharing them with us. I know the Twin Cities Film Fest was really excited to have you again.